This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional. Our guest today needs no introduction because you probably hear his name all the time. But how you going, Martin?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh, living the dream.
Yeah.
Cranking it solo today. Ryan's still not with us, but everyone be in good spirits. He is too. He's just dealing with some stuff, and he's really putting the effort in to get himself better. So he'll be back before you know it, and
Good.
We'll dive back into the comic book episodes when he gets back. So because they were doing really well, and then we had to jump ship mid comic book arc, sadly, but What can you do?
Well, he's got to get well, and he's in the right place. So I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Look, I'm not going to waste any time. We're not going to go for the record, Martin Kearns' record of more than 2-hour episodes tonight. But I did try these new quickfire questions on Jack Roney last episode or a few episodes ago, depending when this episode drops. But Martin, do not be don't be scared, don't be worried. They're pretty. He's shrinking beneath his chair because this is your fourth time on. We're not going to go easy on you, but I am going to go a little easy on you because it's all book related. And like I said to Jack, like just whatever comes out is fine. Like when you're at the shrink and then they hold up the sign and they go, "What do you see?"
The Rorschach test.
Yeah, I love that episode of Scrubs where Turk and Carla have to go to therapy, and Turk just wants none of it, and he's like, is that like one of those things on on the wall where you got to guess what it is? Because I'm seeing a duck. It's just a picture of a duck.
He does it over again.
Yeah,
Amazing. God, I'm glad you plugged Scrubs. I think in one of our episodes I said that was my favorite sitcom.
Yep, and that's when we really became friends, Martin.
That's true.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah. You hear they're bringing it back?
Yes, and I'm a little worried, but
I'm a
because
little worried too.
Their last season was a bit of a dumpster fire, but
yeah,
it just was different. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't Scrubs.
Yeah.
That T-Mobile commercial has been keeping me going for a while.
Yeah.
With Turk and JD in it.
Is that Jason Momoa? Yeah.
Was he in it with them? He might be. You're right.
Yeah, there's one where he sings. He's like, and Jason Momoa is just auto-tuned to the max. He's like, yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, look, I'm okay. Look, season 9. I felt like it was supposed to be a spin-off, but the studio wouldn't allow it, or the network wouldn't allow it. So,
that's a good point.
If it was a spin-off, I don't think it would have been that bad. They should have just gone, yanked JD straight out of it. Here's a new Scrubs spin-off. But they're like going, JD. It's like, no. Because, season 8 was just phenomenal. That ending was the ending as far as I'm concerned, that was the ending.
That would be like if they brought back like a Seinfeld spinoff after their final episode, like something unpredictable, and then they come out with the Kramer spinoff.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%. They should have gone in that new direction.
Yeah. But, we'll see. The whole cast is returning for this one, but because I listened to their podcast for a while because they did a rewatch podcast, and that was pretty funny because they got everyone on, and you found out all this information and all this behind the scenes stuff, like when monkeys ran amok in the. I don't know if you remember the well, I think they use monkeys a lot, and
when they would do the flashes.
Yeah. Well, apparently, some of them escaped, and they were on a floor, and then I think Turk was having a nap in one of the rooms, and the doors flung open, and there was a monkey just bursted in, and he's just like, "Oh crap, what do I do?" And then it just like jumped the couch and jumped out the window or something. It's just funny,
That's
funny stuff like
amazing.
that. Um,
Amazing.
yeah,
Was it a chimp? Was it like a it?
I think it was a chimp or something, but
Yeah, that's
yeah,
absolutely terrifying,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, all
Anyway, let's
right.
crack into these. We've delayed long
Okay.
enough. All right.
This is why we do 2 hours plus, because we get into our little sidetracks.
Now, Martin, I want you
All
to
right.
take me through your entire shelf from your
Oh
left to
boy.
no, no, no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding.
okay.
All
There's
right.
a bunch. It goes all the way down. But all
Yeah.
right.
Horror or historical fiction?
Horror.
Mm.
I teach historical fiction,
Ooh.
but I teach A Tale of Two Cities, and I will until they pry it out of my gnarled, old, wrinkled teacher hands. I I just I think it's a great way to start. I start with Edgar Allan Poe horror,
Yeah.
and then I move into that. But it's so good for kids. It gives them, if they can identify with any of the characters in the book, they'll remember the real history.
Yeah.
And that's why it's such a big teaching tool. I don't know if you can hear these psychotic cats. My boys came back with kittens, and they're literally jumping around like all over the
That's all
place
right.
right now. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, it's historical fiction is super important, but I'm a fantasy writer.
Yeah.
I'm starting to come to terms with that. I
Yeah.
say horror all the time, but I read almost exclusively horror.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah. Well, I think I know what the answer to the next one will be. Fantasy or science fiction?
Ah,
It's tough.
science fiction.
Really?
I cut my teeth on it. Asimov, Herbert, uh, Bradbury, Ray Bradbury is like all three. I think you gave me an aneurysm.
Oh,
Sci-fi, I gotta go sci-fi. It's too rich.
yeah.
There's good fantasy out there. Like I love my C.S. Lewis, my high fantasy stuff. I love my Gaiman. Shout out to the guy who's in. I think he's canceled now. I don't know what you did, Neil Gaiman, but everybody on Twitter is really mad at you. Uh, he's with Rawlings now.
Mm,
Um, but now sci-fi is just it's too diverse and there's just too much brilliance for me
yeah.
to lean towards fantasy. I guess you could say the same for fantasy though.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my first answer, sci-fi.
Lock it in. Lock it in.
I gotta
Okay. What's the first book you remember reading?
other than like the little kid stuff when
Yeah.
with like one 5 word sentence
Yeah.
there was a novel I remember I was in Lake George reading it. It was called Monster Ring.
Ooh.
um it's a kid who goes into a thrift shop, very Gremlins,
Ooh.
and he gets like you can have this and this but you can't touch the ring, and he like swipes it or something, and he gets the monster ring and you put it on, and if you turn it once it basically turns you into a werewolf, and then if you
Oh.
turn it again I guess like a super werewolf, but if you turn it 3 times and something with the full moon, like you'll never turn back again,
Oh wow.
and that sort of thing. I still remember that book. I read it like 6 times. That was a cool book. Definitely good for a kid of whatever age I was.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. What's the last book you read?
That's a very good question. I haven't been reading nearly as much as I should. It's actually it's not this copy, but it's this Lansdale, this the drive-in multiplex.
All right.
This is a copy for being part of the Patreon. But a lot of my favorite writers, and Brian Keene, he owns a bookstore in Pennsylvania now called Vortex. He put this together to honor Lansdale, and it's got all their signatures,
Oh
and
wow.
every author that's in it signed it as well. S.A. Cosby, he's a great horror writer. Laird Barron's like my favorite, and it's got them all down the line here. So I bought another copy so I wouldn't do to the jacket what I just did to it. And I've been reading that, and it's like splatterpunk horror. It's like
Wow.
real gritty, gory kind of stuff. Brings me back to the 80s. I feel like I'm in Blockbuster Video, kind of
Oh, I
going
love
down
it.
the horror aisle, just in pure the old school way. And that's the last one. I've still got a story left, but
Yeah.
that'll be close enough.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
What's a book that's on your to read list that you want to get to?
I have like 60. I should show you. I should literally take this upstairs to my bed,
Yeah.
and there's a stack, and it's
What
three deep.
what's on
Um,
the top of the pile then?
it's a fantasy book actually, and I never read fantasy, but it's called. It's the library at Mount Char or Mount Cher. You might like this one. This might be right up your alley, actually. It's heady.
Mm,
I think it starts the synopsis is like there's a girl in like a cosmic library, and a pseudo, it might be God, it might not be, I don't know, is like
yeah.
the one tasking her with stuff, and then other people want to get after that library sort of thing. So it's like a uber fantasy kind of dark fantasy thing. I'm interested in it. It's supposed to be very good.
Mm,
I have no
well,
idea who wrote it.
but it's there. Um,
It's there.
all right. Do you remember this old show called Gumby?
Yes.
Yes. Just
Or
showing our age here.
Pokey.
Yeah. Now
Of course.
they used to jump into books, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you could be Gumby and jump into any book, what would you jump into?
I got about a 3 second lead on you there because I saw where you're going. Um, I've always had this fantasy of I've always wanted to walk. Now that I'm older and my knees don't work, I don't want to do this at all anymore. But when I was younger and stupider, I wanted to walk across the country. And I actually had a job where I traveled a lot, so I did get to drive all over the country.
Yeah.
But I wanted to walk, and I've always found The Talisman by Stephen King super romantic in that regard. The
Mhm.
kid's walking across the country and he's flipping
Yeah.
back and forth between the territories and here. And I don't want like his mom gets really sick and that's why he's on his journey. I don't want that. So
No, oh,
maybe this is a bad choice.
you're diving into the world. You don't have to interact with the characters if you don't want to, you know?
Okay, cool. I think oh, so I don't have to be the protagonist?
No, 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 no,
All right.
no.
That works. So I could be like a side guy. Cool. Then definitely the talisman.
No, or you can just avoid them altogether and just go the opposite direction. You
That'd
know,
be kind of
it's
cool
just like,
too. Then I might do like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
mm,
Now we're getting somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Always wonder because that chocolate looks so good in that movie.
The river of chocolate.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is inspiring stuff right there.
yeah, yeah.
That's where the line comes from, right? The Snosberries line that they use in Super
Think so.
Troopers.
I think
I
so.
think
Yeah,
that's I think it's like the wallpaper.
yeah.
It's been too long since well, a few years the kids will be older. I'll probably be watching the seventh remake of it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the good thing
Mm.
about kids. They get hooked on one movie and they want to watch it over and over and over and
We're in
over. That
Hotel Transylvania right now.
yeah, my well, because that's I basically half raised my niece and nephew because I was just
Oh,
around all the time, and then
yeah,
they'd always want to not watch a movie other than one they've seen, and I'd be going, watch this one, watch this one, watch this one. And
uh-huh,
they're going like, no, 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 and then I sit them down and I put it on, and then
right.
they just wear it out. They watch it like 12 times a day or something like. So the first one was Land Before Time,
Oh,
you know,
perfect.
and they're like just like they're just completely nuts. I
Yeah,
didn't they didn't tell them there was another like 17 of them, but you know the first one,
just the
the
just the
first one,
first one's good. Yeah,
the
keep with
first
the
one's
first
great.
one.
Um,
I
and
still have a
then
Littlefoot upstairs. My son has it now, but when I was a little kid, I had him. I named him Chippy, but I have a
yeah,
Littlefoot stuffed animal from like 1985.
oh, that'd be worth a lot.
Probably,
um,
actually, I didn't think about
yeah,
that.
probably everything's worth something. The other one I did that I regret so much was Milo and Otis.
That's a tough one, yeah. I
As a
mean, I don't think
as a
there's a death,
no no
right?
but no but for me as a
Okay.
kid, love it. As an
Yeah.
adult, it's the narration. The narrator
Yeah.
is. I'm just like, what? I'm just like, shut up,
I just
gosh.
remember him walking too. He's like a Brit, isn't he British or something? The dog is like,
Yeah.
here comes the dog, mighty and strong, and doing that.
All I remember is like, go, do something. It sounded like Monty Python. Um, and then I remember them throwing a cat over a cliff, but you could tell it was a fake one. And then even with the cats floating down the river, and you could
Mm.
just tell it was distressed. Like it's going.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like, let's just put this cat in a box and float down the and be like, oh, the stuff that they got away with back then,
PETA
you
would
know?
not let that fly today.
No, they won't let
You could
anything fly today.
you could probably do, speaking of cats, still at it. You could probably do Homeward Bound,
Yes, I love those
as
movies.
well. That's a good one too. The first one
Yeah,
was Shadow. It's the only one I remember. And Chance. Now that's
yeah,
coming back.
yeah. And there
It's
was
a
the
good one.
second one where they were in San Francisco or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
All right.
yeah, I was on that because Michael J. Fox, man, it was just like, because I think he voiced Chance. I think he did.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything he touched was gold for a long time. I still love him. His
Oh, he
documentary was
was.
very good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Just Back to the Future for me is just everything. It's just
There you
it's
go,
one of the.
sci-fi.
It's one of those. It just holds up.
Oh
It
yeah,
still
that's
holds
why
up.
Rick and Morty unabashedly says that we copied the concept
Yeah.
from Back to the yeah, and
Yeah.
that's why we did this. I think that show's on its last legs too now, but
Yeah. Well, they kicked out the creator or something. I think they said,
mm,
and then the
they did
voices
something.
changed. The voices changed in the last season or whatever.
That'll do
And
it too.
yeah, because that will kill a show. Like 2012 Ninja Turtles
Hmm.
had 3 seasons with Jason Biggs voicing Leonardo, and then
Okay.
he left, and they replaced him with Seth Green. They sound nothing.
Okay.
They sound nothing alike,
Yeah,
like at all.
that's. I mean, Seth Green can copy people pretty well, but I can't see that working.
No, like yeah, no, it was like and it was just Seth Green being Seth Green. It wasn't like I'm gonna try and imitate someone else.
Right.
He's not the master like flipping Jim Cummings, who you don't even
Yeah.
realize that he's doing Winnie the Pooh, and it sounds exactly like the original Winnie the Pooh, even though that guy's doesn't do it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. All right. If you could have anyone read your favorite book to you, who would it be?
I mean, I'd have to have a favorite. So first, I guess we have to fall upon favorite book, which we'll do the same as favorite movie. Princess Bride is my comfort food,
Oh,
and
okay.
then this will go well with Goldman's masterpiece. We'll do J.K. Simmons, but J.K. Simmons, I almost said Mr. Omega, from Invincible, from
All right.
Whiplash,
Wow.
for all you listeners
Yep.
out there. He was in the movie with the
Spider-Man.
aliens. Oh, of course, Spider-Man. Yeah.
Get
Thank
me
you.
pictures of Spider-Man. Yeah,
Exactly.
I
Oh, that
love
was
him.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jameson, he's in a bunch of stuff. So if you don't know him by now, listeners, you gotta Google him real
Yeah.
quick and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I don't want him just to read it to me. I want him to do like what the grandfather does in the movie. I
Hmm.
want to be sick in bed and have J.K. Simmons come into the room with the book and read it to me while
Yeah.
I'm sick in bed.
Yeah.
That'd be good. And maybe chastise me a little bit too. Like
Yeah. You listen here. No.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Don't you fall
Yell at me
asleep on
about
me.
exactly when he tells the kid to shut up and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh
He's
man.
he's a he's a great actor, JK.
He's I mean, nobody knows his name. Well, the good people do, but like, well, now I feel like I'm marginalizing certain listeners. Like people who are interested in film, I should say, not the good
Yeah.
people do. I, for example, didn't know his name or Stanley Tucci's name until like 6 years ago out of guilt.
Yeah.
Because I love them and everything they've been in, and they're character actors, and nobody remembers the character actor's name.
Yeah.
It's those two. Gary Oldman would
Yeah.
count in this category as well. He's probably the
Yeah.
most famous character actor,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. No,
Um,
he's Goldman in everything he does. Goldman the old Oldman the Goldman.
everyone.
I flipping loved him in War of the Planet of the Apes. I think it was War, or was the one before it? Rise of the Planet? No, Rise. Dawn. I don't know.
I've
The
got
the
them
middle
all.
the middle one. The middle one.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
the one with James Franco, not the one with Steve Zahn. The one in the
Hmm.
middle.
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes
he was
sense.
in that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, was he in Book of Eli as well?
He was in Book of Eli. He does a
Yeah.
great job in that as well.
That's just a fantastic film.
It is a great movie. It holds up too. I watched it semi recently within the last year again,
But
just on a whim, saw
yeah,
it, hit the button. Um, I love it because of that twist. No
yeah,
spoilers, but and he carries the movie every time he's
yeah,
talking to his band of thugs.
yeah,
Denzel does a great job, but doing what he's doing, but it's not
yeah,
particularly
yeah,
entertaining what
yeah,
he's doing.
yeah, yeah.
He just does
Although
a good
he
point.
does a good job of like, I didn't know the twist. I watched the whole thing and did not realize the twist. But then you go back and watch it a second
Right.
time, and you can see that, it's
Hmm.
just like that's just brilliant writing.
Right. it's a beautiful thing. That Shutter Island, you can do that with when you watch it the second time. You go, oh.
How did I miss that?
Obviously, The Sixth Sense was like our first one, the M. Night
Yeah.
Shyamalan twist.
I've still never seen that.
I think we bring it up every podcast that we
Yeah.
do, and I think
Yeah.
I think I get shocked
But
every time.
it's just like I've never seen it, but I know the twist, so I kind of feel like it'll ruin it for me.
Mm,
You know?
that's true.
I do love a good M. Night twist. I don't love all his movies.
It will ruin it for you.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's
It's his
like,
best movie, though.
Yeah. That I mean, I know people don't like this or mix things, but I like The Village.
The Village was good.
Because of the
I
twist.
watched
That twist. That was a great twist.
I watched that with one of my biggest horror fan friends. He knows more about those horror movies and everything than I ever will. And he was cursing at the end of the film. I think we snuck some beers in there or something when we watched. It was a long time ago, but he was like foul about how mad he was at the end of that.
Yeah.
When we were kids. I found that good. Lady in the Water. I like Paul Giamatti.
He's great too.
So I enjoyed that too. But Coco, get out of here. I'm gonna try to grab her for the camera next time.
No, for our audio listeners, Martin was just holding a mug of cocoa, and he said, "No, Coco, get."
Not that crazy yet. That'll be our next one. After writing the next book. Oh, but yeah. So I don't know if I look as tired as I feel, but we're hanging in there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's morning here. I've got a new job, so I work nights now, and I've just never slept better.
Wow.
Like I think it's all these years from playing in bands, getting home at 3 a.m, and
right. That could be.
Because my last job was got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I get home and I'm just like, ugh. And now I start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got a whole morning to do whatever I want.
That is nice. That is nice, and especially if it works for you.
Yeah,
that's great. This doesn't work for you because you're probably ready to go to bed now. All right, let's see. Right. What else you got for me?
What have we got? Okay, so what's a book that is not on the best-selling list but should be, or alternatively, what's an completely underrated book?
Aside from, well, yours is just getting started, so I can't plug yours because that doesn't really count in this state. But I have two books that come to mind that are just these soluble bites of literature that are expertly done. They're both horror genre. One's a little fantasy-ish. One's The Fisherman by John Langan.
All right, yeah.
I don't. That one won the Bram Stoker Award. It may have hit the bestseller list, but I don't think it did. And it's just a perfect story. It's got there's like a sort of flashback. It's told out of order, essentially. So that throws some people off, but most people really enjoy it. That one, I think, should be. And if I have to split it 50-50, because The Croning by Laird Barron is a brilliant short novel, just past novella size, and it brings in Rumpelstiltskin and turns the Rumpelstiltskin story into something so menacing. It makes it hard to sleep, if you can believe that. He's just so good at it. That's another one that should be more prolific than any Stephen King story, in my opinion. So those are the two: The Croning and The Fisherman. Guys, get on them.
Get on them. All right. If you could combine the works of two different authors, what would you choose? Merge them.
Now I'm cheating because I'm seeing in front of me. I'm seeing Lewis Carroll. I see Shel Silverstein over here, and that's where the sidewalk ends and everything. And how about we do H.P. Lovecraft? So we can do horror and children's wrapped together in like a souped up Coraline, just terrify children forever and ever. Well, it's like where sidewalk ends in Cthulhu's realm.
The children in horror, like that's like, you freaked me out. As soon as you put a kid in a horror movie, you terrified me. I can handle most horror, but like children, like I don't know if it's because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but
it's Pet Sematary was terrifying because of that kid.
Yeah,
I couldn't watch Full House because that kid was in it. He was in Michelle's class, and I would see him. I'd be like, Gage.
Yeah.
I'm with you. This Shel Silverstein wrote like like the little kids books. I think Shel Silverstein wrote The Giving Tree, Where the Sidewalk Ends, like all those
Yeah.
stories. So we're trying to like wrap up that with maybe some sort of eldritch god terrifying thing. That would be kind of fun. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We'll mess up some people.
I won't watch it. Sorry.
No, please don't.
I won't watch it. I
I
won't
don't
read
think
it. Or
I don't think I would watch it, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Um, it's tough to fall asleep after reading that.
I freaked out on the flipping Supernatural episode where they had the changelings and they're all the whole kids in the neighborhood would just switched with changelings. Like,
That's a
mommy,
messed up
and I'm just
concept.
like,
No,
just
no,
like,
thank you.
No.
No, a lot of people I know love Supernatural, by the way. I'm glad you're one of them. I have yet to indulge.
I'm very particular.
Hmm.
I only like the first 5 seasons.
Okay. There's that
Go.
many.
There's 15 seasons.
Whoa.
And Eric Kripke sat down and wrote 5 seasons.
Okay.
Like the whole overarching arc. This is where it starts. This is how it escalates. This is the end.
All right.
Perfection. It ends perfection.
And
And then they go. Eric Kripke leaves, and they go. Money!
Yep, money, money, money. And it goes
Because
on for 10 more.
even by the end of it, Jensen Ackles and the other guy, I keep forgetting his name, the brothers, the main characters, they were burnt out because the show's about them traveling around helping people all over the country. So they
Right.
go and to different locations. So they fly into work and then they go 3 hours here to shoot there and shoot, and it's just they're going everywhere to give you this feeling of we're traveling.
Okay.
And after 5 seasons, they're like, oh geez, we can't do this. And then then they keep going, and it's just like now we're in a central location. Everything's
Yeah.
here, and it just doesn't, it doesn't work.
Okay.
There's a
I
lot
can
of
see
plot
that.
holes. There's a lot of plot holes, like
That's
significant plot
fun.
holes. Like it's like you've established lore, and now
Uh-huh.
you're just changing.
Well, you can't do that.
That's
And
what
when
they
you have
do.
something big budget too, like
Yeah.
it'd be like if Rings of Power decided to, well, we're gonna move away from the Silmarillion now and do our own thing
Yeah.
for a while, just to extend out the seasons or whatever they
Yeah.
like concept that is. You can't do
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
No, no.
Well, that's what
All
they do.
right,
But
sis.
all new writers. They probably didn't even think about it.
No, you said.
Yeah.
And
Money,
they
money,
got
money.
15, like 10
I
more
think,
seasons for
and
streaming.
I tried to watch because I went back and watched not from the start, but from season 6, a few years after. Because I tried to watch season 6, episode 1. I was just like, ugh! And then I went back and I made it. It kind of worked as a different show if you ignore the first 5. But the only memorable episode was when like an angel really hated the movie The Titanic, so he went back in time and stopped the Titanic from sinking, so the movie wouldn't be made.
That's actually pretty brilliant.
That's pretty funny, and it's just like fate. Technically, it was like a spirit or a being or a demon or whatever called fate that was going around killing off the bloodline of every person that was on the boat because they're supposed to be.
That's pretty funny.
Like all these people are having freak accidents, and just like at a
Yeah.
massive rate, and then
Like
so it
people
was
who
very
cross
clever.
Putin falling out of windows.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was that was
Oh
very
man.
clever. But that's the only one out of what the extra. I think I got to season 10. I watched 5 seasons, and I was just like, this is just.
Okay.
And then it got to the just you're clearly out of ideas because now the new bad guy is God's sister. Just like, okay.
Now we're getting into the Gnostic texts. There's
Yeah.
more than one God now.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just it was just
Wow.
yeah. I couldn't make it to the end. And then I think I watched the final scene just out of curiosity, and it was just horrible. Horrible how they ended the whole thing.
That's brutal when that happens, though. When they take something that's good and then they destroy it. I'm not a fan.
Because of money. Money.
Money, money. And I wonder how much extra they really made. Well, probably a lot, actually.
Well, apparently, like being in television is better than being in movies because you've always got a job, like to a point. Like you've got consistent work.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have higher bigger respect for all these what do you call it, the soap operas now, because we had a guest on a few years ago, and she did a bit of soap opera stuff, And it's literally like you are handed the script sometimes on the day, learn it, we're shooting it now. Kind of like you've got to be that, you know?
That's a skill then,
Yeah,
just to be able to
yeah,
get it in. And
yeah,
I mean, you can tell by how they film it and what they're
yeah,
doing, like,
yeah,
but you have to give, yeah, you're right. You have to lay some respect on that. That's true.
yeah. I mean, I can't
It's
stand
a
them.
whole different,
I can't stand watching them, but I
yeah,
respect you. Much like
yeah,
James Blunt.
exactly.
I cannot stand listening to James Blunt. He has the most irritating voice, but I have to respect him because he,
Hmm.
served in the what's the he was a tank commander in the army, British Army.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like he
Wasn't it
apparently
Prince too?
he stopped World War Three way back when, like by
Okay.
disobeying an order, like that would have, if he went through with it, if he obeyed, that would have started a massive conflict with Russia or something. So I'm just like, respect,
Interesting.
man, respect.
Okay, I'll take that, James Blunt. But I hate your voice.
But please don't sing to me. All right, last one. You're head of the education department for a day. What book do you put in the school curriculum?
This one's easy actually because I was talking to my wife about this one,
Yeah.
and it would be Letters from the Great Emu War.
Oh.
Because no, but think about it. I teach Animal Farm
Yeah.
already,
Oh,
which
cool.
is anthropomorphized
Yeah.
animals during the Bolshevik Revolution. So it's like World War One era
Yeah.
and stuff. We don't do any literature from Australia,
Hmm.
which it'd be kind of nice to pull some in
Yeah.
to the curriculum and stuff like that. And I have a smaller specialized school. We're an alternative high school, so I have a lot of different versions of special ed. So I wouldn't need that many copies. I
Mm.
could get like 20 copies and make that work for me. But that's a great book. It's great. It works well for correspondence too. It
Hmm.
works well for different forms of writing in the first person as well.
Yeah.
And it's a good read, man. After that shameful plug of your work, which is really good, um, I'm proud of you. I think that's amazing. I
Thanks.
really do think that that was a gnarly idea,
Yeah.
and I think you really gave it a good whack.
Yeah.
It came out well. After that, what would I put in a school curriculum? Yours is going to be the perfect one.
I'll take it,
I,
man. I'll take
okay,
it.
I don't want to turn around and try to like find one because none of this will work. Everything back there is bad. I taught a book to high schoolers called Random Family, which involves a reporter following family in the Bronx during the heroin and crack epidemics
Oh wow.
of like the late 80s, early 90s. And that's about as gritty as you can get. Tried teaching it a little bit up in the suburbs when I moved up a little bit further away, and I got a little
Mm.
spooked. I was like, I think some parents might get a little mad.
Yeah.
So I dropped that. I try to play it a little safer now, so I don't think
Yeah.
any of the horror behind me. Even Edgar Allan Poe is tough to get. It's a little dark and freaks kids out now.
Yeah.
Um, I used to teach and still kind of do teach the Black Cat, but I mean, he kills the cat in the story. So it's like when the kids go home and they're like,
Yeah.
"What'd you do at school today?"
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna stick with your book. I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
that's a good bet.
That's awesome. I did go to school last. Some guy from a school last year say, "Oh, do you have a study guide?" You know, and
I wouldn't be a bad idea to put that
he
together.
he bought a complete class set.
Oh,
You
so
know,
you already have it in a classroom.
no, like yeah, the book. Yeah,
Yeah.
not.
All right.
I haven't done a study guide or anything yet because I'm just
Well, we got to get in touch with Scholastic.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. You know, like I
Well,
just
yeah. It works in that. I mean, I've been in that world for 14 years, and it works in that world.
hmm
Um, and then for that same reason that we were talking about earlier too, that it's you can merge it with history. You
yeah,
can talk about certain things in
yeah.
global, and in the United States, we do 10th, ninth, and 10th grade, we do global studies,
Oh wow,
which is supposed to be like basically everything but the US essentially. And
yeah,
then you do US history in 11th grade and kind of try to hammer all that in 1 year.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, they go from like the Mesopotamia all the way up.
yeah,
So there's a lot that's left out in global, but this
yeah.
would work.
Well,
Be
I'm
good.
happy to. Some kid from Maryland's did a project on it. You know, I didn't hear from him after. I said, "Let me know how it goes."
Yeah,
But
come on. No,
yeah,
that
that was
kids are
it.
flaky these days.
Yeah,
He's on TikTok or
yeah.
something.
No, well, he was like 13 years old, I think.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because he had this little script asking these questions, and then you could tell that his mum was off screen. She's like, "Say this, you know, just like
That's great.
And then she emailed me after going, "Thank you so much. He was nervous." Yeah, yeah. I said, "Oh, let me
I'm
know how it
sure.
goes." Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. So look. Yeah. I brought a copy to one of the guys at work the other day, and he was blown away. And then he was walking around showing everyone, going, "Look at this book."
Well, I mean,
You know.
it's traditionally published as well, and it's got a great look to it, but it's also turn to any page
Yeah.
and start going through and what you've got there, and
Yeah.
it pops. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love that there's a kid that his project was to talk to you, the author. I love that
Hmm.
there's a classroom set already out there.
Yeah.
If it's available at Barnes and Noble, I can get
Yeah.
my classroom set very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is. It is. It's available worldwide. The publisher's done a pretty good job. Um, of getting it out there, and I'm still selling. Even my old crappy version selling, the one I did by myself. Like that's just I
They
keep
allowed
getting.
you to leave that up?
Yeah, well, they said may as well. And I just view it as a first edition, you know,
Oh, okay.
um, because it's a little different. Like the only major difference from the updated version is there's more artwork in it,
Yeah.
and I had to take a few words out because they wanted to make it a kid's book, and the other
Right,
version
right.
I wasn't allowed to say bastard or whatever, and like
Yeah.
I I don't put heaps of language in anything I write. It's just what I do. Um, even the zombie trilogy I'm working on, it's only a few words here and there, but it's still pretty tame. But it is comedy horror. Um,
Right, which is yeah, so you need a couple of those expletives every now and again.
yeah,
I
well,
have a similar vibe with sex. Sex sells. There's a lot of romance adjacent and fantasy
yeah,
and stuff. I don't put gratuitous romance or
yeah,
sex scenes in the book. I have
yeah,
friends who love reading that stuff. My wife
yeah,
enjoys Sarah J. Maas.
yeah,
That's high fantasy with a big edge of that.
yeah,
And she's never said like, why don't you do this, my wife, but
yeah,
my friends have, and it's just not
yeah,
me.
yeah,
It's not my thing.
yeah,
Um, but the curse word aspect of it, like I get it.
yeah. Well, I'm not.
Um,
I like to think if a character is being chased by a horde of zombies, is he going to say, "Oh no, they are chasing"? Like,
no, he's gonna say,
I
yeah,
don't I don't swear all that much, but if that happened, I would. Like,
right.
it's just like,
Yeah, no, I get it.
yeah.
It's gonna be there. I have a few F bombs here and there. I've had students find my book and read it and come in and be like, get his skinny ass out the window. It's like at the third page of the first book. I'm like, thanks,
Yeah,
buddy. But no, I mean, whatever they made you do for the second edition
yeah,
it's gonna be well worth it.
yeah, yeah. The only thing I didn't really like is I liked having the terminology at the back of the book because it's like a glossary kind of thing. Like, so
Hmm.
when you're reading it, you're trying to understand what they're saying, but they're going, "Oh, it's a kid's book, so have it at the front." And I'll go, "Okay, that's fine, that's fine." But
And stylistic issue. This is why
yeah,
working with a publisher, I guess, can
yeah,
be a little tricky.
yeah. Well,
But you're an easygoing guy. You're not
yeah,
gonna be like, no, deal's off.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I have the first one here as well, by the way.
Uh,
I think I do have two copies, and I do believe the second one is
mm.
the one from your publisher. I have to find it, so we're here somewhere. Um, to my historical fiction section.
Yeah.
But next to
Well,
my mythology.
that's the thing because people ask me like what genre is. I can't like, you can't really say it is historical fiction, but it's not historical fiction.
You have to
And
get that word salad out. That
like,
word anthropomorphized is
well,
important.
I basically just say go read a book by Seth Graham Smith called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
There you go.
It's like, sure, it's
Yeah,
Abraham Lincoln's history, but then there's this fictional element put into it. But
right.
but there really was a man named Abraham Lincoln, and he really did, fight a civil war.
That's true.
Um, they could have been vampires. We don't know.
That's also true. No, you weren't there. I wasn't there.
and victories. History is written by those who win. So
That's also true. And a big trope. And
there's a vampire somewhere going the true story of Abraham.
yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's phenomenal. Is that it for your curveballs
That's
for
it.
me for
That's it.
tonight?
We're done. We're
Oh,
done
thank
with.
God.
We're done.
I don't know why I found that so stressful. That was fun though.
Yeah, they're easy, and look, you're paving the way to other guests that come on for the third or fourth time because they can listen to this. They go, I know the questions, but
Uh-huh.
I can't be bothered changing it for every single single person.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. That's very
it's
true.
just tough. It's just tough.
I'm still like reeling about the sci-fi fantasy one.
Yeah,
That's gonna bother. I'm gonna wake up at 2 a.m. Be like,
yeah.
fantasy.
I
All
could have made it.
right.
I could have made it easier. I could have gone like fantasy or children's literature. No.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's super tricky because those are my three. Well, I guess that's a lot of people's three bigs. Horror and sci-fi are in under the umbrella of fantasy, at
Yeah.
least according to Amazon.
Yeah.
And you know how you do your meta.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's tough. If I had to choose like one for, if you had asked that question, we'd still be on that one. If you had to choose one for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
All right. Magic Eye or Where's Waldo?
Magic Eye, actually.
Yeah.
I used to love those.
Oh, they just
They just
I could hardly
relax
ever
my
do them.
eyes. Just relax my eyes and
Yeah.
stare at it. And my mom would be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Wasn't that a fad?
Yeah, those were out there. That was the Goosebumps era when we used to have. I mentioned the company Scholastic earlier.
hmm
They had a book fair for us as kids when we were in elementary school, and it was like the greatest thing.
Yeah.
And none of us liked reading, but we loved going to the Scholastic Book Fair, all the Goosebumps books and the
Yeah.
vampire books, and they always had a million Magic Eye books.
Yeah.
And you'd pony up your 850 and get like one of those and one of these. R.L. Stein was making money hand over fist at those, I'm
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
or because of them.
Is he still around? Does he still write?
He I don't know if he's still writing. He had the teenage series that they
Mhm.
turned into a show. I never read a word of that. My wife saw him at Comic-Con and brought my book, Superstitious. I have
Yeah.
one of his very few adult novels, and
Mhm.
he doesn't personalize them, but he was so tickled that somebody actually bought that book
Mhm.
and had it. And it's all ratty. It's somewhere around here. And
Yeah.
he signed it and he wrote my name in it. So I was like, yay.
Yay. Yeah.
Yay. But to answer your question though, which I didn't, I don't know. I don't think he is though.
No.
He certainly doesn't have to.
No, he's set for life, man.
Yeah, he's in good shape.
Yeah.
This is the one who's driving me crazy, by the way. This is Coco.
Wow.
She's a
And-
little kitty cat.
And she's not even color of Coco.
Nope, not at all. She was named by my son Charlie, who makes it a point to not make sense at all when he
Yeah.
makes decisions.
Yeah.
The other one's name is Dooley.
Mm.
It's around here somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah, no, well, my sister just got a new dog, another Whippet. So they got two Whippets.
2 whippets.
And they said, we got a new dog. You're not allowed to help name it.
What do you mean?
Because of the cat situation from 25 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe it was 20. Maybe it was 20 years ago. 20-ish years ago. I have spoken about this before, but they got a new kitten and said, "Here's a kitten. Its name is Dash. We're going on holidays for 3 weeks. Please look after it."
Oh, okay.
So for 3 weeks, me and my friend Chris just sat there going,
Chris?
Leonard, the Chris went, Leonard, 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 it's freaking Leonard, Leonard, Leonard. And it was just like hours. Like we would sit on our lap and we go, Leonard, Leonard, Leonard. And then 3 weeks later, they come back home and they go, Dash, Dash. And it's not responding. And then I literally stick my head around the corner of the door and go, Leonard. And the ears pop up and it's like, and we're like going, yes. And then they went and they go, here's your cat. It's your cat now.
Oh, brilliant.
Um,
That is one of the best pranks I've ever heard in my life. The perfect amount of deviousness,
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
Well done, gentlemen.
Didn't work out for me though, because it was the worst cat. Like it was just insane. Like it wouldn't use the kitty litter unless it was clean, like
Okay.
mint. Like you basically had to go, okay, you've used the kitty litter.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to empty it and put a new one in every
Right.
single time. And
Yeah.
poop or pee doesn't matter. And then we ended up having to get rid of it. We took it to a shelter, and then a few days later there was an ad in the paper going like, this is our new cat, Harry.
Oh,
And they've renamed it again.
Leonard.
Jesus, it's already got a complex. Um,
He'll never poop right now.
yeah, yeah.
Poor Harry.
I don't know where Harry is right now. Probably, well, it's been that long. No, I won't say it.
Gosh.
I won't say it.
Oh man.
It's
Well,
very
these
easy.
these two are kind of new additions to the house. My wife's two cats passed
Yeah.
last spring, and we've been catless, and I miss them, but I didn't miss the animal, smell or anything. And I want a
Yeah.
dog. I wanted a
Yes.
dog. I felt
I
like it
want a
was
dog.
time for a dog.
Yeah.
My son, Daniel is 6, and he's been talking nonstop about wanting a kitten, and he's a
Mhm.
sweet kid. He's a great
Yeah.
kid. Charlie's a sweet boy too. He's a little bit more rambunctious, as is his cat. So they went to Tennessee, and they had to go without me, and they came back with 2 kittens.
Wow.
So we have 2 kittens.
Mm,
There it is,
yeah.
and I am still dogless.
Yeah. I don't like cats. Like, well, and I'll put it this way: if someone else has a cat, it's okay. I'll go there. I'll pat it. Whoop-de-doo. But
Yeah.
I can't live with a cat. I
Right.
cannot live with a cat. It's just
We're getting close to that.
they drive me. My sister had another cat called James Bond.
Oh, cool.
That's what they name their dogs and animals after characters. So
That's
their
a good way to
their
go.
other whippet's called Sherlock.
Oh, very
Sherlock
nice.
Holmes.
Mhm.
Yeah, but no, that cat was it would just sit.
Okay.
The only time it would annoy you is if you hadn't seen it in 3 days. Like if they go on a holiday and they come back and it's like, rah, rah,
Yeah, bother.
that's it. Or when they had to shave, because it was Himalayan, so they had to shave it a few times because all the hair got knotted, and then it wouldn't leave you alone because it was like, I'm naked.
That's even better.
It was just like just the head was just
Like the lion
left of
cut.
hair. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, it had the big bushy tail, the hair, but everything else was skin. It was just like,
Yeah, and they're vain animals. They are not comfortable when you do that to them. Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah,
We had a long hair that we had to start doing that too as he got older. He passed it. I think his age was 17 or 18.
yeah.
My wife loved him, and as he got older, he got rattier, and we just had to start trimming him real
Mhm.
low. And that's eventually you could just see him staring at you across the room like you did this to me,
Yeah,
because he had this beautiful mane coat. That stuff is
yeah,
brutal with cats anyway. They get
yeah,
mad and they hold a
yeah.
grudge. We should write a
Yes,
story about it.
yes, yes. The Great Cat War. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle, and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories The True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes.
Well, look, let's talk about your books and stuff. Well, obviously, I want to dive into
Sure.
your new one that's coming out soon. But just give us a bit of a recap of the first 2 books and what they're about, and for those that may not know.
Sure. All right. Well, it's the Valor of Valhalla series. We have a dark fantasy horror, especially the first book. For people who aren't familiar with the series, the first book touches on horror a lot more than the second and third, which I feel like sets the tone very well for the stakes in the series. And it starts with a 20-something protagonist who gets dragged out of his reality into one he never asked for. It's parallel world style, magical realism adjacent sort of thing, if you guys are familiar with all those buzzwords they throw around on the internet. But really what it is a story. It's a story about just figuring out who you are. And it's filled with monsters from myth and legend, demons, you have angels, you have Greek myth, Egyptian myth, we have monsters from Australian myth. Aboriginal monsters are in there. It's my bunyip. I'm very proud of the bunyip, by the way.
It's such a cool creature.
It is a cool creature. And I like what it stands for too.
Yeah.
Keep it clean. Keep it
Yeah.
clean and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But the story goes takes a turn. It's not neat and pretty, and we have sort of a cliffhanger ending of sorts. The second one starts off intentionally confusing, I guess, or intentionally muddled. You don't really understand what you're following, but you're interested in it in one of the arcs that are going on at the beginning of this
Mhm.
second book. Then you have a bereaved character you're following as well. You're getting to know some adjacent characters from the first book a little bit more. At this point, you're wondering a little bit about certain things that maybe weren't tied up in the first book as well, and I'll get to
Mhm.
that in a second. And then we kind of see where the real big bad is. There's a bad in the first
Yeah.
one, but in the second book, which is called The Sands of Akira, which is an allusion to the afterlife in Islamic tradition. So you get kind of like, okay, no, this is what's really going on here, and you see how our cast of characters deals with that. And
Yeah.
the good side and the bad side are both growing, and then we wrap up that story with a very heartwarming sort of, I wouldn't say happy, but people enjoy how the second book ends.
Yeah.
It gives a punch in the gut to the right thing. Makes you
Yeah.
feel good when you put it on the shelf afterward. And that was very indulgent for me to do. I enjoyed writing it that way. So I did. I could have kind of done something a little different, I guess. Maybe tried to be a little George R. R. Martin about it and
Mhm.
stuff. But I feel like for the last 10 years, we've been dealing with so much dark in
Yeah.
like the real world too. It
Yeah.
was nice to do something that felt nice,
Yeah.
for a change. And then we get to the third book, which is
Yeah.
coming out in October, October 11th. The Tides
Yeah.
of Nirvana is the third and final book in the Valor of Valhalla series.
Mhm.
Ryan did inquire a bunch of times if it was going to be 5 or 3,
Yeah.
and we talked about it a little bit last time that I really thought it was going to be 3. I
Yeah.
didn't want to try to extend out.
Yeah.
And it is a bit of a rushed story. The action goes and goes and goes. I
Yeah.
don't have many lulls,
Yeah.
um, but I still think I did the right thing by making it 3 books.
Yeah.
Um, and we get a couple of other characters we flush out a bit more in the third book as well. But
Yeah.
in this one, I don't want to spoil anything. So, because there's a couple of big
Yeah.
twists from book two
Yeah.
to three. So in this one, you're really getting the adversary that you're up against and what his ultimate plans are and how what the overall plan has been, but nobody was really aware of. And sort of what set everything in motion becomes clear in the third book, and then we get to our ultimate ending to
Yeah.
see if the world will be saved.
Yeah.
Um, so we have David, we have Rose, who's their love interests in the series as well. It's that kind of book, but it's not that kind of book in the way that the knight in shining armor isn't so apparent.
Yeah.
You don't know who's wearing it at
Yeah.
times, I
Oh,
guess.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I was
Oh.
kind of going for. When I was writing the first book, David was sort of supposed to be a version of me, and he's not me at all. We're so different. And that sort of became apparent at 100 pages in, or about
Mm.
28,000 words. And then I started realizing the character that I was really enjoying writing so much was Rose.
Mm.
Her banter was so much more fun. The way she interacted with Lieutenant or Detective Dodd was much more entertaining to me. Everything about her, how she handled adversity was better.
Yeah.
Everything. So we just kind of she grew and grew and grew, and the story sort of changed because of her, which was interesting to me. I liked it.
Mm.
Um, I'm happy to be done with the series though.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to start writing a another urban fantasy, maybe not so horror as well, unfortunately, for some readers, because there's people who
Mm.
want me to write more horror. But I
Yeah.
do have, before I do start my next novel, I am finishing up a short story collection called Kinder. Nightmares and Plaintive Tales, or Hauntings rather, from
Yeah.
Beneath the Veil. And
Mhm.
that collection is all the little stuff that didn't get wrapped up
All right. Yeah.
in the book. Because if you're going to have a story where a bunch of demons and monsters from myth are sort of just unleashed on the world,
Yeah.
you're going to want to see some side action. Like
Yeah.
what happens when the centaur runs through the elementary school,
Yeah.
or, there's stuff going down.
Yeah.
So I decided to do about 11 stories, and
Yeah.
going to put those out in the spring.
Is that
So
is it? Please tell me when the centaur goes through the school, is it going to start teaching the students about about
like
mythology?
like Charon. So that's for the listeners who don't know, that's the guy who taught Achilles how to fight.
Yeah.
He was a centaur, and I said Charon, I meant Chiron. He's in one of the stories. There's one called Chiron's Jaunt.
Hmm?
But it doesn't actually happen in a school.
Oh,
He
okay.
chastises a bad dad
All
who's
right,
get better at saxophone, you stupid kid.
okay.
And Kieran's in the woods, like getting angry about it.
Yeah.
That one's a good one. I think people enjoy it. There's
Hmm.
a few. We have like a Tantalus style one. With that one gets people a little bit. We have like an endless loop style story. A
Mhm.
lot of things that happen in the police station from the first book. We touch on the police station 2 or 3 times. It's like Resident Evil 2. We
Yep.
just keep coming back to the police station. um, so that happens, but I think that the readers will enjoy it, and they're true horror, these stories. So
Yeah.
I think we'll you'll enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, let's play this trailer that you sent me if you're up for it.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Give the audience some a good old book trailer. This is for the third book, isn't it?
This is for the Tides of Nirvana. So at
So,
this point, the readers should know that at this some point during the second book, a large mythological creature was trapped in the ocean, which
mhm.
everybody on Earth is aware of.
Yep.
This is known. All right, so here we go.
Yeah. I love that logo, by the way.
Thank you. Our stock prices are still affordable, but they won't be for long. Buy, 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 and enjoy the dividends as All Century not only steps up the security of your nation, but also fattens your coffers. Let All Century bring our country to the pinnacle greater than any empire that has spanned the globe before. Abaddon is trying to control you. Don't listen. Fight. And what does the mightiest nation do when confronted with the impossible? What's that? Did you say step up? That's right. And All Century is right here to usher our great nation into the next phase of American history.
So who's the
It
dude
is.
in the suit? Is he Abaddon?
That is Abaddon.
Yeah.
That is Abaddon. There is a scene in the book where he does a bit of a monologue for the world, essentially.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of the dial or what you heard there is directly drawn from the book. Tweaked a little bit because it had to
Yeah.
be, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So what?
And
Where did you get your art done and all that? I know this was like this is AI trailer, but like you've done art before, haven't you? And
mhm.
yeah.
So it's Maurice Mosqua is the primary. A lot of the images there were from Maurice's artwork. Some of them were AI generated. I
Hmm.
still have them from when I did that. I have the guy who does my covers is a brilliant author, twice Stoker Award nominated author named Todd Kiesling. He's very adamantly against AI. Most
Yeah.
of he's an author, but he's also a graphic artist. He does book formatting.
Yeah.
He formats my books.
Yeah.
So Todd, I don't know if you'll ever hear this, Todd, but I did AI ones before, but I don't do them anymore. The avatars you saw though were AI generated.
Yeah.
The speaking because I can't get them to move. I
Yeah.
don't have the right Adobe Photoshop or anything.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that one's as bad on artists as generating still images that
Yeah.
somebody would sell.
Yeah.
Um, so that one I'll sleep okay tonight knowing
Yeah.
I generated Abaddon and David
Yeah.
in that, but those are there. I'd say 7 or 8 of those images were directly from Todd's work or
Yep.
Maurice's. And Maurice is he did the original covers of the books that I ended up switching out for Todd's because they're a little bit more mainstream. I want to bring back a version with Maurice's covers because I love his artwork.
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with it, and it also has a much more fantasy feel to it.
Yeah.
So they're in there as well. So that's to answer your question.
Yeah.
There's a little AI.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
little of the artist drawn.
Yeah. No, I'm with him 100% on AI art. It's just like I have this argument with Chris all the time because Chris uses AI for his job.
Right.
like and he just loves it. And it's because he can't draw. I think that's one of the things. And it's just like
I think you might
and
be right. And
I
I mean,
always
I didn't
joke.
know that about him.
I always joke when he goes, oh, and he shows me an AI art, whatever, and I go, that's great. Now take that concept and give it to an artist. Look, I'm not going to pay
Well, it's true,
$600
though.
for.
There's a soul there. The original ones of those characters speaking, there's a reason you hear my voice. Oh, it was
Yeah.
hard to listen to, whatever, for me. Was because I voiced it over. It's horrific
Yeah.
to listen to the AI robot, like the TikTok style voice or whatever,
Yeah.
is just brutal.
Yeah.
And even my wife was like, "You have to do something about that." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I did this, and then I ended up sending that trailer because that was like my sort of the best I can do sort of thing. And I sent
Yeah.
that to a few people to see if I can get quotes, to see if I can get a professional one done.
Yeah.
Actors, no actors, I don't know. We'll see what comes back to me. But clock's ticking because it's August 24th. So no, everybody that's seen it though says it's pretty cool. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just run with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you can hit Chris up. He can do some voiceover. He do a good Abaddon.
Oh, he's got a great voice too.
He actually did a bit of voice training and acting training and stuff like that. So he can. He's just got a great voice, Chris. He can. I can do a
I can
little
do
bit
that.
of voices, but I can't. Nowhere near as good as him.
I could have Ryan do the David part where he's like, Abaddon is trying to trick you. That Ryan would be tickled
Yeah.
by that.
No, he would love that, man. And he
We'll
won't
see if we
shut
can
up
get it.
about. I put him in my first zombie Dark Knight book, just because I wrote these screenplays way before I really knew Ryan well. And then when I turned it in the book form, I thought, well, he's in our tight knit group now. I'll throw him in there on a page, and then he just won't shut up about it. He's like, "When we're in the second book, and we're going to be in the third, can I have my leg? Can I have my leg ripped off by a zombie?" And I'm just like, calm down, calm down, Yeah.
Man, Ryan, that's what I love about him though.
Yeah.
If I had an eighth of his enthusiasm for
Yeah.
the things I love that he does
Yeah.
for the things he loves, oh my
Yeah.
God. That's great. But no, you're right. I mean, you guys are busy, but I'll ask. I'll ask Chris and Ryan if they'll
Yeah.
do it.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, it's just a few lines here and there. Like Chris will do it 100%. Like just zoom up and just go,
That'd be
Like,
fun. Then we can
yeah.
maybe I won't be able to get back on, but you could show the one with Chris and everybody can compare and contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. No, he'd be down. He talks about doing audio drama or what do you call it? The audio version.
Oh, Audible, audiobooks, yeah.
Yeah. He's talking about doing that with my books and stuff like that. And
They're expensive to get done if you hire
yeah.
somebody through Audible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like 12.
I think we'd do it. I mean, I have all the gear.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you'd be able to do it way
I
better.
like doing things on a budget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can do it and do it right.
Yeah.
I love Nathaniel Priestley did the first one. I'm love that I found him. I hate how much it costs, and I told myself, and everything, where profit comes in with this, everything has to go back out.
Yeah.
You have to buy books for conventions, and we'll talk about that in a sec. You have to buy books for this, books for that, or your formatter needs to get paid, your editor. So as you're going on, the whole deal.
I do.
So I just haven't had it for the second book's audiobook yet, but I'll get all three done.
Yeah. No, I just try to do everything as myself as much as I can now. It's like if I have an idea and I write something that is just okay, yes, this is just yes, then I'll go approach a publisher, and I'm sure Shoreline would do it again, because they're a hybrid.
Okay.
I know there's mixed thoughts about that, but for me, it's just like it would have cost the same to do it myself anyway, because you kind of just putting the bill to a point, and then
hybrids are fine.
They're all professionals,
right? Exactly.
and they've got all the contacts, so it worked well with my Emu book because like it's getting into schools, it's being
Right.
nominated for awards, and stuff like that. So, and it's still selling. So,
There you go.
I'm kind of
You
yeah,
got wins across the board. And hybrids are good. It's just that what gives the bad rap to the legitimate ones are it's just like the AI written books that are flooding on Amazon.
yeah,
There's, it makes it tough for somebody who's independently published to get
yeah,
sales.
yeah,
And I'm glad they're doing something about it where I think you can't run ads now, unless you somehow show that you're human. And there's
yeah,
something else as well.
yeah.
But anyway, Amazon's been a pain in my butt since the beginning
Yeah.
of this process. And it all
I
started with my publish date was set wrong
mm,
by accident. And I lost like 7 weeks of that bump
yeah,
that Amazon gives you with your first book. And the series has been like behind ever since. But we
yeah.
still sold, 4,500 copies, but it's still like
Wow.
a grind. Well,
Yeah.
some of those were at 99 cents.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
some of
So
those are a
that's
deal.
the thing. That's the thing. Look, Amazon's fine if you sell like, 100,000 copies.
Yeah,
Whatever, it's just like
exactly.
I'll take that money. Um, but it's yeah, obviously I went through there to just when I was figuring out all this stuff out, but now I kind of know how to do stuff, and I really don't like Amazon all that much, but I think it's a
It's hard to love
necessary
them.
evil.
It's also that. I mean, I don't know what I would do without them, but I'm not
Yeah.
thrilled that they're there, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I plugged Brian Keene earlier, Vortex in PA.
Mm.
He's a brick and mortar bookstore that does
Yeah.
it right. They do Magic the Gathering, D&D. They have an
Yeah.
annex on the
Oh,
side for
yes.
signings. He's living the dream. It's everything I want to start the barn publishing, where I have
Yeah.
a giant publishing house that obviously it's a barn.
Yeah.
But like there's presses right over here, and we're doing adaptations for comics over
Yeah.
here, like taking
Oh,
novels, making graphic novels, and we're all in the same, yeah, exactly. Like you just hit it right there, like, oh,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
could just run over to this side, and like all the
Yeah.
creativity is housed within the same, 5,000 square
Yeah.
feet, and we can talk, and we
Yeah.
know where the ink is,
Yeah.
that kind of
Let,
thing. You don't need to
let,
run to Chicago.
let me get my passport. I'll be over there shortly. No.
Oh man, don't
I'd
think
love
I
that.
haven't thought about that before too. When we get the
Oh,
stories crew up here for
yeah.
New York, we're spoiling you
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
day. We
It's on
got
my
to.
list. It is on my list because I was talking
It's
to
a
the guys at
flight.
work. I've never been on a plane before.
I don't
Like,
think you want to make that your first flight.
I know, I know, but it's just like but I think I'd want to because I'd want to do something. I don't want to just take a quick flight down to wherever. I just want to
That's
go
true.
somewhere.
My friend John did a Knowles course 6 months in the Outback. They stopped in Korea, South Korea, um, and then flew the rest of the way. So that'd probably be the best route unless you head the California way,
Yeah,
which would be Hawaii, California, New York.
yeah.
That's a
Well,
lot.
yeah. Well, I'm not fussed about California. Um, I know it's all the songs are like, let's go to California. It's hard to find a song that isn't about let's go to California. You
It's
know,
fair.
but I'm just like, yeah. No, but like Chris was born in South Korea, so
Okay, there you
you
go.
know, and he just raves about South Korea. Might be because he's Korean, but you know,
It could
like
be.
there's how there's like no crime there. You can leave a laptop in a cafe and leave it there, and it won't move, and you go back there the next day and it'll still be there. Like that's
They
how.
used to say the same for Japan, like you could send your 5-year-old to the ATM to get money for you and stuff.
Yeah.
Chris, that's why he's got that K-pop vibe, I guess.
Oh no! Do not mention K-pop to him. He
No. Will he
it's
hear
just
this episode? Because I kind of
yeah.
had a feeling it would make it blow up.
I'll make a soundbite. He doesn't listen to the episodes.
All
But
right,
I'll
good.
make a soundbite and we'll get it over to him
There you go.
and he'll go
Well,
like,
wait until after we ask him to do the voiceover first.
I'll leave
Then
I'll
we'll
leave
do.
I'll leave that part out. I'll leave that part
There
out.
you go.
Yeah, and
Man,
he said he's in favor of corporations running the government
jeez,
because apparently well it's maybe he's joking, maybe I don't know. You never
he
know,
has to
Chris.
be.
But well, because over there it's like Samsung is one of the big ones, and
Yeah,
apparently like no one over there has iPhone. It's Samsung,
right.
and it's like basically these corporations sponsor the parties or whatever. I don't know how it works, but
Well, it's kind of the way it goes here, not in
yeah,
America. They
yeah,
just lie about it.
yeah,
Um, but
badly.
man, Yes, very badly. We've got our own circus going on right now. I'm
Oh,
hoping for it to come to a smooth resolution.
yeah.
In any event, we're not going into politics on this.
No, no.
But the third book does get a little politicky in a way. There
Politicky.
in that there's, but it does lean heavily more on less government, more corporate.
Yeah,
I mean, if the denizens of evil are going to be, think of the devil's advocate, right?
yeah,
The devil wasn't the head of Congress; he was the head
yeah,
of a giant
yeah,
company. So,
yeah. It was
um,
interesting. The last guest we had on, D.H. Hoskins, he's from uh, just outside Boston, I think. Had him on,
okay.
and he's got a book, and it's like the Council of Athesia, I think it's called, and it's basically fantasy world politics. Like
Oh
it's
wow.
after the war, and you've got like all these nations meeting to talk terms and that, and they want to ban necromancy, and then
Oh,
and like there's a group that's going, we need necromancy to stay alive, like backdoor dealings, and it's just a political, but in a fantasy land. I mean, that is such a cool idea.
that is a really cool idea. It's something I really want to read, actually. I'm
Yeah,
gonna write that down.
the
You remember
Council of
that
Athesia.
question? Council of Athesia.
Yeah,
Another book to go on my pile upstairs.
yeah, yeah.
Athesia. Now I'm gonna read all 32 of them this year, I promise. Now that I'm done with the series, it'll be helpful. But we're in final edits. It has been edited, but I'm doing
Yeah.
final edits now, and it gets out to the formatter probably in 2 or 3 days, and we're
Mm.
rolling. Looking forward to the cover. I wish I had a cover for you to show, but I'll get that out to you guys soon.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, this episode's not landing until September, so
Okay.
you may have some time to, and then I can just throw it on top.
We'll have a cover
You
by
know?
then.
Yep.
Todd does the
Yep.
cover. I mentioned him earlier. I mentioned him
Cool.
again. Yeah, he's fantastic. He wrote Coal Black and Infinite is his most recent collection of short stories. It's
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. It's got one of the best zombie stories I've
Mm-hmm.
read.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
called Black Friday, and
Yep.
it's a dude working Black Friday at one of the big box stores.
Wow.
And guess what happens?
Zombies. Yep.
Zombies.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's good stuff, man. Todd's good people, but he's a great writer.
Awesome.
Plug him real quick. But yeah, what else you got for me?
I don't know. Well, we probably talked about this before because you've been on that many times. But like, what drew you to your, like, you do urban fantasy, yeah?
Yeah.
That's yeah, yeah. So what drew you to that, like, over high fantasy or other fantasy?
I was exposed to a lot of high fantasy. I read The Hobbit very young. I read Lord of the Rings. As soon as I got my teeth in it and knew what it was, I read all three right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretended I was in the bathroom late at night to read the book kind of thing. Like that was the childhood sort of thing. Like I had to get the book in. But urban fantasy, it's something about the fantastic in our world that draws me to it. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
A story idea hit me once. Somebody can steal this if you want, but I was like, what if your ways or your we have ways here. I don't know if you guys like Google Maps, what have you, your GPS
Yeah,
started
yeah, yeah.
to direct you to something that you didn't
Yeah.
put in it. And it was like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
then you started going on like directed adventures or whatever. Then you started becoming part of a plan that you weren't necessarily involved in. I was like, oh, and then who's controlling the GPS, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Like that stuff intrigues me more than like, all right, Glendolyn of Wendelin has the mystic bow and she has to climb the Mount Gornock and take out like I've seen so much of that. I read Paulini and I've read all these high fantasy books and I just don't find much joy in it anymore, I guess.
Mm.
Um, Brent Weeks wrote the Night. I think it's Night Night Century or whatever he wrote. It's these stories about a there's a lot of magic. It's high fantasy.
Yeah.
He's like a contract killer and he's a disciple and there's poison. It's really cool stuff. That's been the most engaging, I think, sort of fantasy I've read in a long time. I'm hoping this one, Mount Char, one with the library is also really good. But that leans closer to what you were kind of describing, like that politics,
Yeah.
necromancy.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of where my head is. So that's I think that's my preferred version of escapism because
Yeah.
I would like the world to be a little bit more urban fantasy, I
Yeah.
suppose. We might lose a
Yeah.
few good people here and there, but
Yeah.
be more entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's just I love stuff that's written that's grounded, like
Yeah,
and it feels like it's short fantasy, but it's you could almost see it happening,
exactly.
if you know what I mean. Um,
That's exactly the way I feel. That's why I like the Talisman so much. It's like a kid. I was like, who wouldn't want to go on this epic adventure
yeah.
as a 12-year-old across the country? And like literally you're told by this dude, I'm not coming with you. You've got to get it done. Oh, if you fail, the world's over.
Hmm.
And you're like 12. You're like, what? Like that was a great move by that was Straub and King wrote the Talisman together. So
Nice.
yeah, Peter Straub, Ghost Story and all that too. He's another one that doesn't get enough credit. King just overshadows everyone.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge him it either. This the way he writes. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I do have a couple things to plug actually. We're
All
doing
right.
conventions. We're doing a bit
All
of
right.
a
Cool.
tour this year. So
I yeah.
if you're stateside,
Is that an invitation?
I just pointed at Jamie. I'd love for you to come in. We got some time too. It's these span a while, but I'm going to do a couple conventions. One's a small flea market in Waterbury, Connecticut. It's in that's going to be October 19th. ChillerCon though in Parsippany, New
Mhm.
Jersey is much bigger. That's going to be the 25th through the 28th of October. Then November 8th is Monster Mania in Oaks,
Mhm.
PA. Be there selling books, selling my time, selling my signature, selling. Well, actually, you can have the signature for free. Giving out candy, whatever you guys want. Just come on over. I'd love to talk to you. GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio is the day after my birthday, which is December 6th through December 8th. That's going to be tough because I'm going
Mhm.
to work and then drive to Columbus, which is about 10 hours, try to sleep and do the
Mm.
3-day convention and somehow get back
Oh.
around the holidays. That'll be fun.
Mm.
And then Dark Force, another one in Parsippany, New Jersey, and that one is May 2nd through the 4th. Try to add in a few here and there. So you have until May to get over here, Jamie.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
We'll do it.
It's possible. I'll see if I mean, I probably got enough money to get over there, but then I probably won't have enough to get home. You know.
We'll see if we can work the convention together.
I'll bring some books.
We got a bunch of them here to sell. I'm looking at a bunch of boxes right now.
Yeah. I'll be like,
You bring your book.
why is this book $1,000?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
is
It just says Jet Blue on it. I don't know what that means, but we put my wife and I put a lot of work into the setup too for the booths and everything at these things. So hopefully it goes well.
Right.
We'll
So
see.
your third book's coming out, and that's the last one in this series. Like, are you going to start a new series? Are you going to start a new urban fantasy? What are you going to do next? What's the
Finish the short story
yeah.
collection and get that out. There's one more story that's being written for it called The Angler,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably my favorite story in it. It's a pretty dark concept, and that one's gonna get in there. We're gonna finish that out. I have the cover for that already because I can't get it out of my head, so I got another cover designer, Roderick Bryden, I believe his name is, and I better get that right actually. And he's fantastic. Um, and that's ready to go. Most of the stories in that are also ready to go, which is good news. And then my standalone is going to come next. I want to write a standalone novel. I've had three ideas in my head. One is kind of winning right now, more than the others anyway. Um, it's a concept. It's going to be not young adults, but it's going to focus on somebody of that age. Maybe maybe he's 14, maybe he's aged down just a hair from that, but I'm thinking around 14 or 15. That magical age
Yeah.
when you're allowed, just enough rope to get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
That kind
that's
of
it.
thing.
Yeah.
How come I can't find this cover? Because he's got his name on it. I know you're in here. This always happens to us when we're on the show.
Mhm.
Here it is. I was Oh, I was right. It was Roderick Bryden.
Bryden,
Yay.
my last
Yep.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He spells it Brydon.
Ah, the other way.
I was gonna say, are you Roderick Bryden? But there
Well,
she is.
there you go.
At Kinder. For those who can
Nice.
see, it's
Yes.
a image of a gentleman looking in a mirror,
Yeah.
and all sorts of
Yeah.
reflections are looking back.
Yeah. Apparently, historically, I was a Brydon.
Oh,
Um, but paperwork apparently.
Ellis Island of Australia.
Yeah.
Is that
So
how it worked out?
so the O became an E. You know.
Yep, that's the way it went over here. They were getting off the boats, like, nah, it's too many syllables. And that you're Smith,
Yeah.
you're Smythe,
Typo.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. They just
Yeah.
changed names willy-nilly with the immigrants.
Yeah.
When everybody in America is an immigrant, whether they like to admit it or not. So
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of works everywhere.
yeah, it's
Um,
true.
all thanks to the
Alright.
Brits, the British.
Yeah, they did cast a wide net, those Brits.
Yeah. Oh, tally ho! I think I heard somewhere where I think the Brits came to your wonderful land
Mhm.
and they met like a native, Indian Native American, and like that guy walked out of the cave or wherever he was and went, "Hello, how are you?" And it's like English,
Oh
and then
wow.
like these were the first colony people, and apparently some years 30 years before someone came, took one of them, turned him into a slave, then he escaped and lived in London for 10 years and they came back home
And
or
they brought
whatever,
him back.
and like he somehow got back, and then and
That's a
then
wild story.
and so you imagine you're in a new land, these tribes, how we're going to communicate with them, and they're like, hello, and it's
That's
just like,
amazing.
that's
No, I
mind-blowing.
can't.
I heard
No,
that somewhere. Yeah.
that's amazing. I definitely
Yeah.
I can deep dive. I'm a good enough
Yeah.
internet sleuther to find that.
Yeah,
Um,
you're a history teacher. You should have known that.
well, I'm an English teacher,
Yeah.
luckily.
Yeah.
I teach next door to the history teacher though.
Oh, you
But
can slide
man,
him a copy of my book.
I might. I think you'd enjoy it. Pete's a huge art history guy too, so he's very into. Yeah, he's a cool guy. But yeah. Other than that, we have some merch up on the site. This feels like too shameful to
That's
plug,
good.
but I am wearing
It's
I am
like
wearing the shirt. You got,
beneath the veil.
and then on the back, oh no, I gotta go this way. You've got the
Oh,
quote you
that's
probably
cool.
can't see, right?
I could see sort of it.
It says you have to know the dark to see the light. That's one of the
Mhm.
quotes in the book. There's some for the second book. They come in hoodies and all that sort of stuff. If you're interested in that sort of thing.
Awesome.
If you're not, that's fine too.
Is that
Mostly just set it up.
store linked on your website and stuff? I take it. Yep.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
It
Cool.
is. So you can get them printed. They print them all based on the order, and then they ship it out. So they're not like sitting in my house or anything like that.
Mm.
I have a bunch of these from an author I like, and I decided to make my own. So there we go. That's what happens when you
Awesome.
finish writing and you're waiting for the edits to come back. You
Yeah.
start doing weird stuff like designing
Merch.
t-shirts.
Merch. Yeah.
Merch.
Well, I've got I run a podcast, so that takes up most of my time. Like
Mhm.
I had a good writing session the other day. I think I did 6,000 words in one sitting.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
For you muggles out there, that's like running 7 to 10 miles in an afternoon
Yeah.
after you went swimming.
Yeah. It is a little bit easier for me because I've got a screenplay that I'm turning into a book.
Right.
So it's the outlines there, but I'm just like,
I hear you on
Yeah.
that, but don't sell yourself short. That's
no,
still
no.
hard work because
Yeah.
screenplay leaves a lot out that you have
Yeah.
to fill in
Yeah.
in prose. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good because I just do the overall draft and then I go back and fill it out more. But I'm also looking for plot holes and things that don't make sense. Like I realized that I left out a key character for the first half of it, the screenplay.
Oh wow.
And like,
Yeah.
she's around, she should be there, but she ain't anywhere and saying anything. I'm going, all right, now I'm gonna have to go back and make her more
That's
present.
good that you caught that.
Yeah, because it's hard because I've got the first book's Bucks Night and it follows a Bucks party, and then the second book's called Hens Night and follows Hens party. They're running parallel, and then the third book they're all together.
Okay.
They all come together. So and then plus you've got more characters you're bringing in. So it's like very dialogue driven. But
but that's good though.
yeah.
I think a lot of writers at our level anyway fall into traps when there's heavy explanation in the in the narrative. Dialogue helps you avoid that naturally. So dialogue driven's good.
Yeah, no, I've mentioned this a million times, and I'll probably have finished reading it by by the time this episode is dropped. But I'm reading the original War of the Worlds.
Oh, very nice.
That's very descriptive driven, and
And
But
that's
it's
brutal too, because like H.G. Wells, Orwell, the greats, Asimov doesn't do this as much, but they're very verbose
yeah,
writers. After you read something like that, I feel like you have to read like Slaughterhouse-Five or something
yeah,
else that's very different right
yeah,
afterwards, so you don't get
yeah,
caught up in like how he wrote
yeah,
back then, because you could write like that when people had an attention span longer than 14 seconds. But now
yes,
people look at that, they're like, what?
yeah.
And then they're done.
He's holding my attention. I read about a chapter every lunch break at work, but
Oh, well, he's H.G. Wells. That's why he's
yeah.
holding your
And
attention.
I'm going like, this is cool, and I'm like, yeah, I saw the Tom Cruise movie, but this is just different.
Oh, it's
This is
yeah, it's
just
way different.
different. It's like I'm going, he's ahead of his time. He was so ahead of his time that because that's like 124 years ago. You wrote that.
When they read it on when they read the version on the radio, they
Kill
people
people.
literally thought, yeah, people
Yeah,
literally thought that the aliens were invading. They just
yeah,
had a Ring alert. I don't know if you have a Ring and in Australia. In America, we like to put cameras around that anybody can hack and
yeah,
look at and all over. So we have a camera doorbell
yeah,
called a Ring. And when you get one, there's an application where everybody can say whatever on their mind in your
yeah,
neighborhood a, under an alias called like
yeah.
Neighbor 27. So every
Yeah.
psycho is out there. And so last night we did a little camp out with my kids out in the yard and everything. And when we came in the morning, the one of the neighbors wrote down that alert aliens are invading, blah 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 blah. And like he wrote a whole thing. Usually it's like there's a bobcat on Smith Avenue kind of thing,
Yeah,
or there's a bear ate my garbage. This was like
yeah.
really in depth.
Mm.
I was impressed. And it's funny you bring up War of the Worlds now because I was like, maybe the aliens were there in the woods with us.
Yeah.
Oh man. I
Yeah.
hope you enjoyed the ending of it.
Yeah. Well, I've because it's got book one and book two. I've just started book two.
Okay.
So you know, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff happening.
Hmm.
And I can
Agreed.
visualize it. Even though it's like before the cell phone.
Oh yeah, way before the television.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
Yeah, you're getting there. You're getting before. I think that's pre 1900. Did he write
yeah,
that?
it was 18 something.
Yeah, you're talking gas lamps, no cars. We're
Yeah.
getting
Yeah, well, he
into it.
did. He did say he did mention vehicle. He says the word vehicle, and I'm just thinking. I'm wondering if that just means
Hmm.
horse and carriage.
He
Because
could.
there's a lot of horses.
Hmm.
Because obviously there's a scene where they're all being herded down, or they're all running down the main street, and
Getting
they're
scooped up. That
coming.
is a spooky book.
Make way, they're coming. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is a spooky book. And then yeah, their Deus Ex Machina is
yeah,
literally for those. Well, we better not say. But yeah, if there wasn't that, there's no. You're not winning that fight
yeah.
in
That's
that
it.
day and
That's it.
age. And it's only
Yeah,
amazing what 100 years makes.
yeah,
How different things are. But
yeah.
anyway. All right, guys.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Hey,
I think we'll wrap it up now because look, I was worried we weren't going to go that long because there's Ryan's not here, but we're crouching in on the regular
yeah, we get there.
time.
Hour and a half.
I'm happy with
If
that.
I wasn't so tired, Mr.
Yeah.
Bryden, I would be going at least another hour.
Yeah,
I'm just beat.
no, I've still got editing to do. And I want to try and get some writing done, and
Yeah, you got to get to it.
and all that stuff. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on. I'd say plug your stuff, but you're plugged every episode, so.
Yeah, it's true. And we just plugged anyway. Let's see. Who else can I plug besides Todd? My editor's got a series under a pseudonym, but I can't remember her name right now. Sorry, Angel. So we'll do that in a different way another time.
Yeah,
and
that's all right.
yeah, enjoy Ms. Cassells' work too. The romance is romancing over there.
Yeah.
And pick up if you haven't picked up Beneath the Veil, get on it.
That's it.
And grab the other two books in the series as well. You're gonna enjoy the ride.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Check out our YouTube channel started to grow, our Instagram, all that stuff. All our links for that is in the show notes. If you want to send an email, thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. And thanks again, Martin, and we'll catch you guys next time.
All right. Take care, everybody.
In 1932, the Australian Army declared war on 20,000 emus and lost. It's a part of Australian history that not many know about. Maybe that's because history is written by those who win. So if you want to hear the full story of the Great Emu War of 1932, then check out my book, Letters from the Emu War. Read letters, newspaper articles, and journal entries. With every turn of the page, you will gain a deeper understanding of the life and times of emus at war. So head on over to jabryden.com and grab a signed copy today.